Okay, good morning. Thanks for coming to the Network Breakfast. My name is Tom Basie, and I'm going to introduce each of our members here today, and they're going to give you a 1-minute synopsis of what they do, who they are, and then we're going to continue on with our subject for today is 5 steps to make sure hackers cannot access your home network and files. Some of the stuff is going to seem a little techie, but that's okay. You'll have us to ask. You can leave comments below, and we'll get you all through this so that when we're done with this, if you have questions, you can watch it again, or you could call. Jeff's got his phone number right on it. Are you kidding? Look at him. He's sitting next to his phone number, Jeff Hexter at Always Keep Computing Incorporated. Okay, so we're going to introduce ourselves, and then we're going to get started, okay? So we're going to say good morning first to Jeff Hexter. Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I'm Jeff Hexter. My company is Always Keep Computing. I work with the home and the small office user who is stuck with their technology questions and have run out of people to call. You know that frustrated feeling people get when they're ready to throw the desktop out the window or the laptop out the window? I refer to that as defenestration. That's the act of throwing something out the window. I want to be there to catch that machine before it hits the ground and hopefully get to help them before they actually get that frustrated. So if you know somebody that's complaining about their computer speed or their Wi-Fi not working or their printer not printing, ask them to give me a call. I'd be happy to help.
Great.
Dexter, Always Keep Computing. We pull out our hair so you don't have to.
Excellent. Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for dropping by, too. I appreciate it.
Apparently many people have that hair thing.
Yes, and some of us are getting there. Thanks for dropping by. And we're going to say good morning to Marty in front of the sold sign and for sale sign. He's a real estate agent, and we'll let him speak. Good morning, Marty.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Marty Kelbel. I work for Coldwell Banker Schmidt Realty, and interest rates are historically low. A great time to buy. Also, any renters out there, if you're tired of paying rent, give me a call. Most likely, your mortgage payment would be less than your rent payment. This is a seller's market. Houses are selling fast. Give me a call before you get locked out. Miss your dream house of a deal. Marty Kelbel, Coldwell Banker Smith Realty.
Excellent. Thank you, Marty. And we're going to say good morning to Chris Walters. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. Chris Walters with See-Through Windows. I provide vinyl replacement windows, exterior doors, and glass block. Basically, I call on people in northeastern Ohio. We go from Port Clinton to the Pennsylvania border, Cleveland to Canton. Most generally, I'm working with general contractors, real estate companies, property management companies, and rehabbers in northeastern Ohio. Right now, if somebody is looking to have something done, we're in the middle of July, which is probably to some of you pretty shocking, but everybody's letting us in, do what we need to do, and I thank the Lord for that.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for joining us this morning. Okay, we're going to say good morning to rlord.
Good morning. rlord here with Kennard Financial Services for all your financial needs, from anywhere from just getting out of debt and learning how to manage your money, all the way up to investments in retirement planning for your kids' college. It's all exciting for me. Most of you probably not, so I try to make it sound not so exciting. But we keep it simple and get you to your goals, and we have over 40 years of experience throughout our office. So if you need anything or have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.
Excellent. Thank you, Rob. And just a reminder, I'll have everybody's contact information in the listing below this video so that if you need to contact everybody, their names and their email and phone numbers will be down there for each of you to contact them. Okay. Thank you, Rob. And now we're going to say good morning to Susan Nelson. Good morning, Susan.
Good morning, everybody. And who do you know who's out of work and feels like they're wandering in the desert? They feel so uncertain and insecure, and they really would like a guide. That's me. And we connect them with other guides too. An ideal referral to me is a midlife person who's professional, may or may not have college, but performs a job like that we would call professional. It's free to talk to me, so please send them my way. Sue Nelson, The Job Search Center. I've been doing this work for over 20 years. I've had over 4,000 clients. It's unlikely somebody's going to present a problem I haven't seen already. So please refer your friends.
Excellent. Thank you, Susan. Thanks for dropping by today, too. Okay, now we're going to move on to our other lovely and talented member, Trina. Good morning, Trina.
I thought you were going to say Shalom. Good morning. I'm Trina Gigax from Fresh Eyes Reading. I'm a copy editor. I work with web designers, people who write their own writing, or marketers, to ensure that the writing is clear, the structure is good, all the unnecessary words are taken out, or that the right words are chosen to get your message across. The whole point is for the reader to have the best experience and to remember what was written. And that's what I work on. Trina Gigax from Fresh Eyes Reading.
Excellent. Thank you. Good morning, Trina. Thanks for coming in. And now we are going to hear from Shalom at this point, the lovely and talented Salom Plotkin. Good morning, Shalom.
He has to unmute.
Yeah, he's on mute.
Good morning, friends. I was busy trying to put a referral for Sue Nelson in the chat down there. So, yeah, we're staying busy. There's no question that folks are finding us to be a better option sometimes than going into the nursing home. Shalom from Right at Home, in-home care and assistance. We're continuing to volunteer in the community. We'll be back to today. We'll be entertaining at Beechwood Commons, so it's assisted living at 1:30. So a little bit of friendly networking in the parking lot, and then we do some line dancing. Tomorrow, so I heard, so we were going to be hosted by, there's a bar reopening in Beechwood. They actually opened this past weekend called Winking Lizard. I was there yesterday because we're having, basically some, however many people can fit around the table. They had promised us tables of 10, but now they've downsized them to tables of 4. So that's a big difference. But in any event, we'll be on the patio on Wednesday. That's tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And I don't know, just an initial impression. Do y'all think that that's okay? That, you think people will still be good for that?
I'll be there with my mask.
Even if it's only 4 people as opposed to 10 people? I mean, we still have about 20 people coming. It just means 5 tables instead of 2 tables.
Shalom, I do think so. And if it was me, if it was advertised that there will only be 4 people at tables that normally hold 10, I would be more likely to come.
Okay, so they've actually downsized the tables as well. So everything is smaller.
Are the portions smaller?
There's
And the
spaces
prices?
farther apart. What's that, Jeff?
Are the portions and the prices smaller too?
You know what? I think that if you survive Corona, I will buy you a beer. How about that?
Hopefully the donations aren't.
Corona beer?
You know what? Actually, from what I heard, they stopped bottling Corona at the height of the pandemic for various reasons. But no, they didn't go out of business, thank God. So yeah, that would be cute, a round of Coronas. In any event, something which helped me yesterday, I gave a referral to a friend of mine on a site that I'm not really familiar with on social media called Nextdoor. So the referral, so you've heard of it as well. So the referral went to her. She actually had heard from somebody else had recommended her as well on the same site. And then the family called me directly. So they also know me from the community. And they said, how do you, so this is a woman who's done some work for us professionally. And so I was able to give her a personal, testimonial. But then because I had posted on her, not only did she turn around and give me a recommendation, except I didn't have a site on, now I do, but I didn't appear on that SOMA. Hadn't claimed my business listing, but then somebody called us for our services. So I think social media is becoming, if it wasn't before, it's becoming even more important. And I'll say this, if anybody wants to give us a testimonial, the best place is on Google. That's where the people find us the best. And I will figure out a way to to try to do it back for y'all. And I've already done it for a number of folks who are here on this little group this morning. But I think we could help each other out because we see each other regularly, and we have a relationship here, and we have a trust that we've built up. And I know people who they all have helped. So if there's somebody, you can put me in the text if you want, or just call me. But if I can help you in that way, that would make my coming on to Tommy's breakfast feel like it was time well spent.
Excellent. Thank you, Shalom. Thanks for you dropping by too. I appreciate it a lot. Okay, and now we're going to hear from Ray. We won't see him, unfortunately, but we're going to hear from Ray. Good morning, Ray. How are you?
Good morning. I am fine. Thank
Good.
you.
Good.
I am a credit expert, so if anybody has any credit questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. The only phone number I have is my cell phone number for the past 10 years, 216-337-7520. And what I'm currently doing is reverse mortgages for seniors. It's a very interesting product because it can even be used to purchase a home. So for example, if you have someone who's retired and they've paid off their home and they decide to sell it and downsize, they can use a portion of the funds that they receive from that sale to use as a down payment on their new smaller property, and then use a reverse mortgage for the difference and keep most of their funds from the sale as retirement funds and never have a payment again. So that's another way a reverse mortgage can be used to purchase a home in the case of downsizing. But normally a reverse mortgage is used when someone has achieved at least 50% of the paid, in other words, they've paid down their mortgage to about 50% of what the home appraises for, and they might have a big mortgage payment, but as long as we can replace that mortgage with a reverse mortgage, we can eliminate that payment altogether. So in many cases, I save people over $1,000 a month with a reverse mortgage by paying off I can't give them a lot of cash, in other words, but I can save them that $1,000 a month going forward. So, and also I find that about 50% of the referrals I get are from the children of seniors, wanting to make sure that their parents are taken care of properly in their old age, at least financially anyway. And obviously many of you are not of retirement age yet. So if you have parents that you want to make sure that they're taken care of, obviously you can make that referral. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Ray. And thanks for dropping by today. We appreciate hearing you. At some point, we'll be able to see you, but not today.
Indeed.
Thanks for coming in. I see we have another visitor, and we'll wait for him to connect, and we'll let him speak for a minute.
He was texting me during the meeting asking for the link.
Don't I send him a link regularly?
I think he got it. He got it, but he couldn't find it. So I just forwarded the email and texted him the link.
Got it. Okay, so we'll give him another second here. Otherwise, we'll get going, and we'll start on the screen share. But I don't want to just. He's connecting to audio.
And his name begins with B.
It's Brandon David Hawkins.
Yeah, Brandon. He was here probably 3 weeks ago.
Actually, we can go back and look at the old videos and find out.
Sure.
By the way, where are these videos held? Where, I've never seen a link to a video, I don't think, in my email.
I think I only did it once. The link is, if you go to search and type in The Network Breakfast with a space between the words. That's our channel.
You mean on YouTube?
Yes.
Oh, on YouTube?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
So Yeah, we have 7 up there now. I think we'll have 8 with this addition. Mike Bentley couldn't be here, but he's anxious to watch our video so he could learn about the 5 steps to make sure hackers cannot access your home network and files. So I think we'll go ahead and we're going to get moving here. Yes, Susan.
Did you say these? I'm sorry, I was reading the chat, and did you say these are going on YouTube and that our contact information is below the video on YouTube?
It will be below this video. Yes, I haven't done that previously, but I'll be doing that from now on, so that the contact will be connected to this video, this particular video, the 5 steps video. So each of your contact, your names and your phone numbers and of course email will be available associated with this particular video. Okay? All right, so now I'm going to share the screen. Better put my glasses on or I don't know if you remember last week, right around this time, my screen went. It turns out I read about what was wrong. This has nothing to do with hacking or anything, but it does have to do with the equipment going south on me. I have a 27-inch touchscreen Dell XPS 2710. It was a high end at the time. I imagine it's still an i7 chip and all of that, but it overheats. And that's what the problem was. The RAM chips overheated. So right today, it's working properly, but I had to take this giant plastic back off of it. So from the other side, it looks like a brain surgery. From this side, it looks like it always did. So we'll continue on, and hopefully it won't go kablooey on me. I'm going to share the screen, and we'll get the, here it is right here. I'm going to say screen share. Good. And I'll say screen and say share. And that should be it. Everybody see that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It should be 5 by 5. Okay, and you'll see the little hacker back there trying to type in getting into your network. This is 5 steps to make sure hackers cannot access your home network and files. But truthfully, like Jeff and I mentioned early on to each other, if somebody wants to get in, they'll get in. But there are things we can do. And some of this stuff is going to sound a little techy, like you got to dig in a little bit. But don't be afraid. It can be done. You could search on Google or DuckDuckGo, type in your query about how to make something happen that we talk about today. And maybe you could look at this video again and get the 5 things that I'm going to list. So if I hit this and see if we can go to the list of the 5 things, and we can. So you'll see the 5 things we're going to list today and talk about, and Jeff can attest to each one of these and know what we're talking about, and I can too, and probably some of you can also. I think it's important. These 5 things will help you secure your network and your computers and your Wi-Fi network at home and your laptops and your tablets. Okay, so the 5 things, I'll read them off for keep everything steady here. Keep everything up to date. When I say everything, I mean your Windows, your Mac, your email, if you're using Outlook, if you're using online web clients, keep everything up to date, all your browsers, because security threats are continually evolving. Okay, so these are the 5 things, and let's go and we'll talk about the first one, which is keep everything up to date. Security threats are continually evolving, which is why you need to keep your browser updated. Updates help protect you from the latest spreading virus and attacks. I mean, if you didn't know this from this point on, that they update their viruses and all their spyware, malware, ransomware. They update that stuff daily. So you need to update your stuff at least daily or weekly. You got to update your operating system regularly. Windows releases frequent, though sometimes buggy, updates. And missing any of them can mean severe consequences for your security. And the same goes for Macs. Most Windows PCs download and install updates automatically by default. If you haven't changed your automatic update settings, you might not need to change a thing. If you turned automatic updates off, I don't know if you remember, but some months ago, we were suggesting that maybe Windows updates wasn't such a good thing. Well, now that 10 has been out for a while now, the updates seem to be smooth and less buggy. So you need to update your Windows. You also update your Mac OS. With Macs, updates come through the Mac App Store. So you can open up your App Store app on your Mac and you click updates, and then you could tap the update to download and install them. So that would help you keep everything up to date. Most Windows 10 machines are constantly, it's almost a nagging that it says, we're going to update later tonight. We're going to update tomorrow. Click to, if you try to turn it off, it'll say it'll update before it goes off. Do it. It's important. So the number one thing is to keep everything up to date.
Tom, how do you update your browser?
Just restart it.
Okay, we're going to get to that.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's all right. If your the browsers that we look at here are going to be Safari, Firefox, and Chrome, and we'll get to that, and I'll recommend what to do. Okay, test your firewall. You probably, if you're a normal computer user, you probably don't know if your firewall is on or enabled or anything, but you really should learn at least minimally how to make sure that your firewall is on. Because even if cyber criminals can see your network, a firewall will help prevent them from getting inside and doing any damage. So make sure your firewall is on. For Windows, you go to settings. I don't know if you know where the settings is, but if you have Windows 10, you click on your start button and you'll see a little gear. That's settings. And you go to update and security and choose Windows security from the left-hand menu. This shouldn't be above too many of us. We should get involved if you want to keep your stuff safe. I know it sounds like you don't want to bother with this, but I think it's necessary and you'll keep yourself safe. So, okay, you go to settings, update security, choose Windows security from the left-hand menu and choose firewall and network protection. You can open the firewall menu and you can at least see whether the firewall is on or not. You can toggle it on or off. For a Mac, open system preferences. If any of you have Macs, I have a Mac 27, iMac 27, and I make sure it's updated all the time because even though it's way less vulnerable than a Windows machine, it still can be hacked. So we need to do Windows Mac machines also. Okay. It mentions one more thing about doing a port scan, but that may be a little too techy for us to handle at this point. You can get port scanning software and make sure that the ports that are used normally, these numbers won't mean anything, but we use port 80 for internet and other ports for telnet and FTP and like that. So you can check those ports with apps if you feel like it. But right at this point, all we need to do for today is make sure your firewall is on. Okay, we'll move to the next one. Remove extra browser add-ons and host files in Windows. Now, I let this go because host files is a little deep for most of us. But Jeff would know right where to go with that. And if you look at the bottom of the screen, I actually put the path to where the host files is. in case you feel like watching this again, you can actually copy or type this key plus R on your keyboard and paste this line in, and you'll go to your host files. A large way that the cyber community gets in and lets things happen is by changing your host file so that it can circumvent your internet security and what's called a DNS, the domain name server. Domain name server, if I don't want to get too techie because you guys will zone out on me, but a domain name server changes the words of a website into the actual IP address or shared IP address for shared servers. So if these things get into your computer and change your host's file, it can circumvent all of that. So you really should try to look at it or get somebody to look at it and make sure there's nothing clandestine in your host file. I know it sounds like it's way out there, but this stuff is doable. Okay, let's get back to the browser extensions. Most browser extensions are safe to use tools that enhance your internet experience, but some are malicious. Regularly comb through your list of extensions and remove any you don't recognize or don't use anymore. I think it's important to look at the extensions in each of your browsers. For example, in Chrome, you visit the Chrome Web Store. This is what Trina was asking about earlier. In Chrome, you visit the Chrome Web Store menu to see the list of all your currently installed extensions. Remove them by clicking Remove from Chrome. Click the Library tab and delete the extension from there as well. That'll keep Chrome clean, and it will also offer to update your Chrome at that point. It'll say that you need to update your Chrome to keep the security going. In Firefox, for those that you like Firefox, you can click on the 3-line menu button and click on add-ons, followed by the extensions. Scroll through that list and click the 3-dot icon next to the extensions you want to remove. If things don't look right, this is not going to kick you off the internet if you get rid of one of the extensions. You'll just go back to a website and it'll say, oh, do you want to install the extension? And then you could do that again. But if you think it's clandestine, then get rid of it. In Safari, for us Mac users, choose Safari, Preference, then Extensions. That's where you find that, so that you can turn off an extension and deselect it in the checkbox. You can also uninstall it at that point in Safari Preferences. Some browsers are better than others at doing all of this. And in my mind, Chrome is still the best and most secure and lightest. It allows you to travel all over the internet in a less heavy. It won't drag around a bunch of files, and yet it's still a very robust browser, I think. Windows or Microsoft has tried to counter that by inventing the replacement for Internet Explorer. It's called Edge. And for our purposes here, I don't even mention it because most folks don't use it. Maybe someday we will, like everybody used Internet Explorer until Chrome came along or Firefox. But anyway, let's move on. Now we're going to go to number 4. See who else is using your Wi-Fi. You could have hackers, you could have neighbors, you could have somebody parked out in the front yard or front of your house using your internet. There's a way to find that out. And if they're using it, they could slow your internet speed down. So what's here is network intruders can slow down your internet speed and interfere with your data. It's worth knowing who else might be logged in and using it, because your router broadcasts what's known as the SSID, which is the name of your Wi-Fi. Like WTAM is the name of 1100. Same thing. So you see the name when you look at when you set up your phone. Hold on. We're having an issue here with rlord must have got kicked out and he wants to get back in. And I'll tell you what.
My screen went blank.
I'm not sure. Let me see. Oh, here it is.
I see everything fine.
I don't see anything.
Okay, I just clicked on rlord again, and I'm going to click on Brandon again, see if he could get in.
And I'm not seeing anything either.
Okay, you don't see the full screen here?
No, my screen went blank.
Oh, I don't know that it had anything to do with this.
It must be at your end, Marty, because I can still see you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, me too.
Maybe it's a screensaver. Move your mouse or something.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
done that already.
Yeah,
I've done that already.
Okay. Are you okay now, Marty?
No, I know my camera's working because I see the light on it.
Well, I can see you, and I see the sold sign.
Yeah, I see you too.
Whatever's
Okay,
happening
I'm back.
is on your end. Sort of like me last week when my screen went blank.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right.
I'm back too.
Now, if you feel like it, this may sound once again like a little techie, but to see all the devices that are connected to your Wi-Fi and on your network, even if they're wired or wireless, you can open your router settings. Each of you probably has a router. Now, some of you, if you have AT&T, DSL, or Spectrum with Wi-Fi built in, you may not be able to get in and look, but most of us have separate, or some of us have separate routers that you can actually log into. It's usually something like 192.168.1.1. That's an IP address. Sometimes if it's a Wi-Fi, it'll be 192.168.1.254. Those are like the industry standards that you would recognize. A person like me or certainly Jeff could go and know to get into the router using one of those two IP addresses. And if you can get in using the username and password for your router, you can actually see, even if it's somebody you don't know, if they know the SSID and they've hacked through your password, they can get in. There's a way around that, and that would be number 5. Oh, wait, let me finish this. When you're logged into your router, look for an option that looks like attached devices, connected devices, or a client list. It shows you all the devices using your connection. So if you have a bunch of Echo, the Alexa, Amazon Echo things, those are all going to be listed there individually in your router to show you who's there. Hopefully your neighbors didn't, unless you gave your neighbor your SSID and your password, because they bring over pizza every Friday. Okay, let's move on. We're going to go through what I think is probably the most secure way of keeping your Wi-Fi unknown. And that would be, wait, I got to hit the button here. Okay, it doesn't work because I did something. There it is. Okay, hide your Wi-Fi network from public view. There's Jeff. Okay, I'm going to see the look on his face. Okay, by default, this is great stuff. This is things you can do without being really techie, and it would make your network nearly invisible. It's brilliant. Listen to this. By default, your router broadcasts its network name, SSID, for you and your guests to find easily. For example, when you got a new iPad, when you get a new iPhone, you go home and you look for the one that it says. If it's from AT&T, it'll have a particular name on it that you find, and you click on it, then you type in the password they gave you. Okay. But this also means that anyone looking for your network can attempt to join. You can stop that. You can stop your router from broadcasting its connection. So only people who know the router's exact name can attempt to join. Even if you name, well, you probably wouldn't want to name it like your dog, because somebody would think that would be what, like my cousin Debbie's network is called Charlie, the name of their dog. So even if you made it invisible, somebody's likely to guess that. Or what's known as a port sniffer might come up with that because of their dog. Okay, well, if you name it something that no one would ever think of and you don't broadcast that name, that's going to take your network and your Wi-Fi right off of the public view. And you're probably going to stay pretty safe, I think. Jeff may have a different view. I'm hoping he does, because that's the last thing. So we have a few more minutes, but I'm going to play this last. Okay. Thank you for your kind attention. You'll also see that the data and the image was provided by King Commando at commando.com. I want to make sure that everybody knows that that's where some of this text and that the image I'm using on the background, and it's copyrighted 2020 by West Star Multimedia Entertainment, all rights reserved. Okay, so now I'm done with that. Now we could talk about, I want Jeff to jump in here. And I think what we could do is, I'm going to stop the share and bring us all back in. Okay. So what we have is not failure to communicate. Remember that? What was that? Okay. Is there anything that you want to copy or comment on, Jeff? Because next to me, you're the closest thing there is.
To you in general, or you mean to another nerd?
Yeah, we're probably the most nerdy of the 8 of us, 9 of us.
All right. There are free tools that will discover hidden SSIDs. So hiding the SSID is really more of an inconvenience to the user than it is an inconvenience to a hacker.
I agree with that.
Having a nice secure password, a long password for your Wi-Fi protected access password is more important than having a hidden SSID. Okay.
So there I have an IP address scanner. Okay. So
that won't find it. But here's a link to a tool that will scan for hidden SSIDs. I just put it in the chat.
Okay, so that if you created one that is not broadcast, this would still find it.
Yeah, and then there are free tools like Wireshark that will find it.
How would it find it if it's not if the router's not broadcasting it?
Even though the name isn't broadcast in the clear, anytime the devices are making connections, they need to know it. So any device that is talking on the network will use the name, and it can listen in on the packets that are being transmitted to look, because the name is always used in the clear.
Okay.
So that's how the tools will sniff the name out of the communications that are already going on.
Okay.
Also,
so the information is like the information would be in the iPhone.
Yeah.
And it probably can see that somehow.
Well, what'll happen is anytime the iPhone is connecting to the Wi-Fi, it will use that name, and other devices can listen to that communication and find it that way.
Okay. Wow.
So it's not really secure. It's just inconvenient.
Okay.
And you have to type it correctly, capitals and everything, in order for you to enter that information when you want to connect to your network, although it will remember it.
Well,
really more of an inconvenience than anything else.
Okay, but for people that are that sophisticated, they'll probably get in no matter what you do. This is for a little, apparently, I didn't state it, but this is probably more for the casual, mischievous hacker.
It's likely to prevent an unwanted user from accessing your network more easily.
Yeah.
If you have, what's there's the feature with WPS, Wi-Fi protected setup. If that's turned on, that's a security risk. If you're using universal plug and play, UPnP, that's a security risk. Those settings in the router being turned off would probably go more to securing the Wi-Fi than
Yeah.
hiding your SSID.
Also, a pretty robust Wi-Fi password would certainly do it, because even if you had a Wi-Fi, a password generator, it would be prohibitive for them to let it run for a month or two, unless there was some reason that you were doing something that somebody had to find out. Although I do know that the FBI and CIA years ago created software that can do anything. It could turn on your camera without the light coming on. It's called Carnivore. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Carnivore. It can do almost anything. It could send an email from anybody to anybody, and it looks real. It's amazing. But then again, that's what governments do, Yes.
I have a question.
Go.
When you talked about turning on the firewall, you said how to do it for
Mac?
Windows. For Windows.
Yeah.
I didn't hear if you said how to do it for Mac.
Yes. For the Mac, you open System Preferences, and then you click on Security and Privacy. Then you click the lock icon. So now you can make changes. Sometimes you have to type a password to unlock. And then you enter your admin username, then select Turn on Firewall if it's not already on. And that'll solve that issue. That's how you do it for Mac. Sure. Glad to help out. Okay, anybody else have any cyber attacks? Did you get okay, Ray? Let's hear it.
One thing that is going to benefit you if you get the ransomware attack is a good backup. And Jeff Hexter talks about this a lot. I'm a big fan of backing up the entire hard drive, and that not only protects you from ransomware, but it also protects you from a hard drive crash. I take an image or a snapshot of the entire hard drive, and if my hard drive fails, I just swap hard drives and I'm back in business as though nothing ever happened.
Yes, that's important for if you get locked up with that fake FBI locking your computer up, and you got to pay to have them unlock it. But if, like you say, if you have imaged your hard drive and have that on a separate drive that's no longer connected, you can just shut the machine down, swap out the hard drives, it boots up properly. You won't even know it happened. You can laugh it off. Of course, you might want to find out how they were able to get in and do that. But nevertheless, there's nothing like backing up, or as Ray suggests, you actually image your hard drive so that it becomes a bootable hard drive that can be swapped out for the one that's been hacked or crashed or whatever, and you're back in business. I don't know if you remember, but there was a story a couple of years ago with Ari, and I had done a hard drive image because his machines, his computer and his the machine that does the countdowns and creates tickets and all of that, it's a particular kind of software on a particular kind of computer. So I imaged the hard drive, and 2 years later, the hard drive went bad. It seized. So I went there and installed it and fired it up, and he was back in business in a half hour, as long as it took to screw it in. There's nothing like creating an image backup to save you from all of this stuff if you don't go through and do these 5 steps. But even if you did these 5 steps, somebody wants to bring you down, it'll happen, because these people spend their lives figuring out how to do it. That's why it's important to update. I wish I had that list that I could just throw back up on the screen, but it's important to update your files. You update Windows, you update your security, you update your browsers. It's important, and it'll save your data. That's if you keep your data on your computer. You know, we've talked also about using Google and Google Drive. If all of your files are up on Google Drive and your computer gets hacked, well, you could just use a different computer and log into your Google and get all your documents. They'll have been saved. So there's many ways, but I like the idea of imaging the software that Ray suggested. Anybody else have any horror stories about their machines getting hacked? Okay.
I posted in the chat that I understand on that you can turn on your firewall with gifts of jewelry, chocolate, flowers, and romantic dinners.
Okay. Susan?
No one? Thanks.
No, Susan wants the candy, the chocolate, and the dinners.
No, I have to go. I have an 8:30 meeting.
Oh, sure. Thank you for dropping by, Susan. I hope to see you again.
Me too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Later.
Yeah, it's 8:34. If anybody needs to bow out, we appreciate. Hey, Brandon.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Yeah, we're all here. We're 8 of us, so you better put your mask on.
Well, you know, they sound.
There you go. I feel safer now. Isn't that funny?
Brandon looks like he's in an airplane.
Yeah.
Believe me, you look appropriate, Brandon. We're all safe. What, do you on an airplane?
Yeah.
Oh my!
Yeah,
Is the airplane in the air?
No.
No.
They're checking the inside of the plane.
Okay. So is lunch going to be served there soon, or?
No, they're serving. I saved you one of these, Tom. For when we
Nice. Listen, I appreciate it. Anybody that thinks about me saving me something, I'm all for it. Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any issues? Nobody has any issues with their computers? Something happened and it does
Hey,
something.
Tom, and everybody, I got to go soon for another meeting. But
Okay.
I do a message in the chat box to use my business email, not my personal email, please.
Did you type that in our chat?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I'll save that. Thank you, Marty. If you got to
Okay.
get going, I
You
appreciate
can
coming back.
update. You can update the personal profile then too.
Sure. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marty.
Bye,
Well, guys,
Marty.
next week.
See you, bro.
See you, Marty.
Adios. Good
I
luck.
got a message from Trina that she got frozen when she turned on her. It froze Zoom when she turned on her firewall on her Mac.
So the firewall was off.
Apparently,
Oh boy. Let's see if she's knocking
she's
on.
behind a firewall router, so she's double firewalled now.
Well, she's not
Yeah.
clicking back in, so she's probably just going to stay out.
Yeah.
And
Watch
note
this.
to self: don't try to update your Wi-Fi software in the middle of a Zoom meeting. It kicks you off because it reboots.
That's a good one, Rob.
I had no internet for like 5 minutes because it was rebooting.
Is that why it knocked
All
you
right,
out?
guys. Yeah.
Hi, Rob. Enjoy the day.
Yes.
Oh,
Take care.
he's going to enjoy it all right.
In that weather, nice.
Sure. We got some nice weather.
Hold on, guys.
Uh-oh.
Shalom, I'd like to
What is
thank you
that?
for the
Turbulence?
Plane crash.
introduction. I talked to him.
Turbulence on the ground.
He doesn't want to leave the area. You know, he only works in about 4 or 5 different cities.
Well, I got to tell you guys something important. Whenever I'm on this deal, I just feel right at home.
Thank you, Brandon. And I'm glad to have made you that referral, Chris.
Okay.
I know that he likes to work in the area. I just figured that you might also have jobs in the area, so I thought you guys might work out together.
Well, I've got a couple things that I may give him within the next 2 weeks.
I need a clarification from Brandon. What is this deal? You mean our little meeting we're having?
Yeah, I was just trying to. It was my way of plugging. You know, just
He was
giving
punning.
a little plug. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
I feel right at home, and I don't feel like I'm gonna get whacked.
well, you're correct. You won't get whacked. Nobody gets whacked. Especially you're talking to an Italian and you're going to tell him whacked. You know what that means? That's like when Scott talks about headshots.
Yeah, I
You
went
know,
on Zoom.
To me,
I got
that's like,
bumped.
boom.
I was a little nervous about getting bumped off, and then I found out it was just Zoom.
Okay. I'm glad you're comfortable, even though you're ready to take off. I hope your pilot hasn't been hitting the sauce, you know?
No, it's only 2 shots.
Yeah, well, it don't take much.
Brandon, David, will you be in town on the 16th of July in Cleveland?
That's possible. That's highly possible.
Okay, so when you get here, if you like, give me a call. There's a new assisted living facility that's opening and they're looking for some entertainers.
Oh, absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely. Man, that's my favorite people to play for.
So yeah, they have.
We really enjoyed Brandon on what was that, Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve? Oh, New Year's Eve morning.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
And-
that's how I launched my career again with Shalom. I got founded at the network breakfast.
Nice. And you're really, really good at it too, Brandon.
Hey,
It was so much fun. You saw everybody. We had about 15 or 18 people. Everybody just loved it. You did such a nice job. Just wonderful.
Yes. I'm looking forward. Hopefully we'll bring you out of retirement, right? We're going to assisted living home, Tom, so it might be perfect for like relaunch.
Sure. I'll do pennies from heaven.
Hey, I'll do dollars from Corky's.
Oh, clever.